Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where we take a random prompt and we create an entire world based around it. I'm Cassie, and as always, I'm joined with Isaac.
Hello.
And it's Christmas! Quite literally, this goes out on Christmas.
Anyway, so today we're doing something a little different. Casey has decided to give us the prompt today because she wanted a Christmas-themed episode, and she has something that's vaguely similar related to Christmas if you squint your eyes and tilt your head. Anyway, Casey.
Okay, so it's not fully Christmas, but it is based off of my all-time favorite Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. So, in the whole prompt of It's a Wonderful Life is George Bailey gets to this amazing gift of getting to see what the world would look like if he had never existed. Like, this is beyond just not, like, outing yourself. This is, he was never born, never existed. The world sucked without him. It's the general premise of it. But I thought it could be interesting and really mind-bendy and just a fun little trip if we built a world in which everyone had that choice. Everybody at maybe a certain age or a certain point could say, actually, I'm ready to choose to cease existing. And then they get to see what their life would have looked like if they didn't exist and choose that world or the other.
Okay, so let's first establish what it is that gives people this choice. Is it some sort of deity? Is it some sort of spirit, a collection of spirits? Who is
for the sake of Christmas, it's just angels.
Yeah. So who is it that gives...
Try to hold on to it a little.
Yeah, who is it that gives people this choice?
So I feel like you need a guide to come with you on this journey, because if you cease to exist and you're wandering this world in which you never existed, you might not know where to go to look at things. So, like, in It's a Wonderful Life, George Bailey had his angel who guided him to all the different important areas of his life to, like, find the people that were the worst affected by him no longer existing and the places and stuff. So he had a guide to point him so he could actually see what him not existing impacted the area.
Yeah. I remember when that guide, the carrot conductor man, got the cucumber on the train and guided him through the world. Yes, I remember this.
No. I'm gonna make you watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, I mean, I watched the VeggieTales version. That's good enough for me.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not the same.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Okay, so we've got a guide. Where do these guides come from? Are they just angels? Are we just saying that It's a Wonderful Life occurs to everybody? And it's the exact same
it's Christmas.
setup? Right around Christmas
what
time?
What else would we do? I mean, is that when it happens? It's like actual Christmas? Like, Christmas is no longer a celebrate. It's not what it is now. It's not like this huge commercialized thing that celebrates the birth of Jesus, but instead it's this almost depressing ceremony where people of a certain age get the gift to see if it was actually a good thing they lived or not.
Wow.
Did we just make Christmas depressing?
I think so. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life was all about how, the guy's life was wonderful despite its flaws. And this is just like, nope, you're a deadbeat. You caused nothing but misery for those around you. You've achieved nothing in your life. Your life was completely meaningless. You want to disappear forever?
Do you want to erase it all, actually?
Yeah, it's like maybe you killed 2 people in a car wreck or something years ago, and that was the biggest thing in your whole life. And so it's like, well, might as well erase myself so that those 2 can live.
Well, especially in this case, if you went back, you got to see what those 2 people's lives would have been like if you hadn't done it. And if you see that they're doing more good than you would have.
Unless you're really selfish and then you decide, nope, I'm not not letting them live.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely... But then again, if you're, like, a horrible person in general, and you see your life and you see that the world's better without you, but you personally are that selfish person, you can still choose to keep living.
Yeah.
or some people might like choose to redeem themselves. They're gonna have to pick another, the best Christmas book of all time. They might have a Scrooge moment and repent and then start becoming better because they've seen themselves in this. See, it's Christmas themed.
Okay, so self-improvement is Christmas themed. Got it. I thought that was New
No, I
Year's.
was talking about like Scrooge. I was referencing A Christmas Carol.
Yes, I know.
I've referenced two Christmas classics
I know. It's just
now.
that both of them, like, when you're combining them like this, it seems to be all about self-improvement. And
Well, both. Yeah. The Christmas season is all about like reflection and becoming a better person and like the miracle of love and giving and all that. So it kind of makes sense that this great ceremony would happen during Christmas
I thought
time,
it was.
and that time that represents
I thought
that.
it was all about demanding presents from a fat guy wearing a red suit flying through the sky. And if you don't get what you ask for, chances are either he's not real and your dreams are crushed, or you got a lump of coal because you were bad. So,
Wow.
yeah. All depends on...
Look, you know what? Christmas is already depressing. So I think if anything we're improving it now. At least you're gaining something guaranteed this way.
I guess, but okay, so now let's see about this. Okay, so we've got let's say somebody didn't make themselves disappear. Okay, things go and they move on as normal. But what if somebody did make themselves disappear? You've now shifted the entire reality, and everyone is constantly shifting the reality every, 2 seconds.
Alright, so now we're gonna borrow from a very not Christmassy series, and we're gonna talk about Marvel. so there's, how there's this main river of time, right? This is the main stream on which everyone is continuing on. And what we have here is that there's a lot of little streams poking off through it in which people existed who then chose not to exist. And the moment they chose not to exist, the world in which they didn't exist is the main stream that keeps on going. And those other little streams that are sticking out just die and end. And you just convert back to the mainstream.
Okay, so if those other streams die and they end, does that just mean that everybody in the universe has suddenly ceased to exist? That's dark.
Yeah, I guess, technically, except for the... Well, there's one mainstream in which everyone continues living.
Okay, so
and
you've
let me
killed
tell
10
you,
billion people, but at least the 1 billion survived.
Yeah, look, and those 1 billion probably have an amazing life, because anyone who sees that, any decent person who realizes that the world is, if you found out that you not existing would mean that World War One, for some bizarre reason, never happened.
If I found out that me
then
not...
that means World War One would never happen.
If I found out that me not existing made it so that World War One never happened, but also made it so that 10 other timelines suddenly ended and countless lives are destroyed, then I'd be okay with World War One happening instead of that.
But here's the thing, Isaac. Here's the thing you gotta think about. By accepting this gift, by taking a look at that world, you've created a timeline. So if you choose to keep living, that timeline in which you don't exist also dies. Either way, you're killing a bunch of people.
Okay, so the timeline in which I don't exist dies. But that timeline never started if I don't decide to kill myself.
What?
That timeline only starts if I don't exist in it, correct?
Yeah.
Well, if I don't
but
cease
you've
to
gotten
exist,
to see it now, so it existed.
Well, I get to see what it would be like, but not necessarily what it is.
Well, here's the thing. Who's to say that the world, that's not the real world, and actually you not existing is... Oh gosh, I'm trying to think how to word this where it makes sense. So who's to say which of these two realities is real? It's you who says it. No one... It just
so
means
one
that
is real,
in one world...
is not.
And you get to choose which one's going to be real.
Okay, so when I choose one reality, the other reality just never existed? Meaning I'm not killing anyone.
No. You're just choosing a reality. Now, here's the thing. There's going to be consequences with either option. People, you impact a lot of
I still
people's
don't
lives.
think this makes any sense.
What do you mean? What about it doesn't make sense?
Okay, all of it? So
Specifics.
so I have two options. I can either continue living the life I have, and then this other timeline over here will never have existed, where I didn't exist, but also it dies.
Yes.
It can't both never have existed and also die.
Well, it existed for a little bit because, like, you got to see it. You got to see what this world looks like.
So if I just choose not to vanish myself, but wouldn't I continue to live in one timeline, but then the other timeline just goes without me no matter what I choose?
Well, one of them's like a main timeline.
Okay, so do the timelines switch places? Like, if I choose not to live anymore or to erase myself, that other timeline where I was erased already existed. But if I choose to continue living,
yeah, but now it's the main one.
Now it's the main one, so they do switch places, like the timelines.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty much you're like going down the river,
hold on.
and then you're given this choice, and there's two paths, and you pick
Hold on,
one.
but if the main timeline is like the real one, but it only becomes the real one once they swap places, you can take that current real timeline, swap it out for the alternative. That real timeline was still very real. All the things that happened in it, you're just ending it and killing people. Whereas this one where you never existed, you're just bringing new life into the world. It's like it's a separate set of identical people. So really, if you choose not to exist, you've killed everyone in the world and essentially given birth to a trillion other people.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's for one, I think you're overestimating how much of an impact you probably have.
I'm saying you're impacting the entire timeline. You're impacting the entire universe at this point. Every historical event and future event has been swapped out because the entire timelines have been swapped. But then you've got other people within this timeline who are doing the same thing. And are they real? They have all their own memories and they just come into existence. When I choose, am I going to immediately be swapped out for someone else and die because someone else in the new timeline that I just chose is going to choose to change them up again?
I mean, there's
there just
a chance
seems to be a
that,
problem
like,
with everybody sharing the same timeline here.
That's why you gotta focus on, like, there's a main timeline. Once you make a choice, it's kind of cemented, and then everyone who's made their choice, and then it keeps on going. And it's not like you constantly given this choice every year. You're gonna get given it once in your life, and then afterwards, you're never gonna be given it again.
Even then, you know how many people are born a minute?
Yeah.
And all of them are going to be given the choice.
It's gonna be less now, probably. Yes. Everyone has a choice.
What if somebody realizes that if they didn't, that if they decided to erase themselves, Hitler would take over the world, and then they did that. Hitler's now taken over the world, and then decided to blow up the world because he's Hitler. I don't know. Some tyrannical, crazy person blew up the entire world, and everyone's dead. Like, surely that had to have happened in one of the infinite amount of timelines. Eventually, someone just swapped out a time, the entire main timeline for one where the universe just sort of ends.
I know. I feel like there's so many people involved, though.
Yeah, that's my point. Eventually, you're going to get one of those choices that ends the world.
No, but, like, I feel like there's so many that in order for the world to end, a bunch of people have to choose that timeline.
Wait, why would a bunch of people have to choose it? Everybody gets their own choice. It's not like I can say, oh, I choose not to...
Also, wait. Okay, wait a second. All right, so you're saying not... So here's the idea. This person, then, is going to choose... Oh, out of curiosity, I'm just trying to think of, like, what type of person would choose not to exist in order for Hitler to destroy the world, or for anyone to destroy the world. Also, why do we talk about Hitler so much on this
I don't
podcast?
know.
Okay, moving
because
on.
everyone knows who he is.
That's true. Yeah, but I mean, that person had to choose not to exist for that to happen.
Yes. And you don't think that there's some crazy people out there who would do it?
Possibly.
I mean, there's definitely going to be some depressed person who's just like, I just want the world to end. I hate my life and everything in the world. And then this
Yeah, but like,
angel or whatever shows up and
okay,
says,
okay, but the
hey,
person.
you want to end the world? And he's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And then he swaps out the timelines.
Okay, but here's the thing, Isaac. In order for that to happen, that would have to mean that at some point this one person had prevented the world from ending.
In a sense, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Butterfly
what are
effect.
the odds of, like, that, yeah.
He sneezed, and that's prevented the world from ending. Because someone
I
stopped to give
don't,
him a
but that's
tissue,
the same, like,
and when he got the tissue, that person ran late for work, and then that meeting was all about, like, you know, it was dedicated to building some sort of nuclear bomb that would destroy the world, and then because this key person didn't make it there on time, they didn't get the bomb completed, and so the world was saved. All because he sneezed.
the butterfly effect is pretty fun, isn't
Yes.
it?
So yeah, you could absolutely have some random dude sneeze and then save the world.
I wonder if that's, like, actually ever happened.
I'm doubtful, but it's possible.
But then there's that.
When I was
I don't know,
blowing,
I still feel like
when
that'd
I
be
was
a very
blowing
hard.
bubbles when I was 4, there's a chance I stopped World War III. You know.
Possibly. I think there's another thing we kind of have to talk about, which is there's also this concept of fate and inevitability. Like, certain events are going to happen no matter what we do to try to stop them or fix them. So, like, there's still set things in this world that will never change. And maybe, to be honest, all that this choice impacts is just the lives of those that are closest to you and whether or not they have better lives without you or better lives with you. Which, again, is depressing. But, I mean, okay, some people have a really great experience. You know, they see this and they see, like, how much of a positive impact they had on the world and that they were actually doing great. And so they get to choose to live and they keep getting to be positive and they kind of just have a, you're doing great, keep on going moment. Okay, so I think your whole point was that it's, one person could have, like, this massive domino effect on the world and eventually that could lead to someone choosing for the world to end. And my whole point is that I think there are set things that are going to happen no matter what. And at the same time, there's so many people, and with everyone having this choice, it almost seems impossible for any, like, real major change to happen. What actually happens is just, like, is the person in your life going to have, like, a more positive experience with or without you? So it's a lot more personal, I'd say. Like, you had impacted this town, you impacted this one person in this positive or negative way, and you're seeing that.
Okay. That I think could work.
Now, there was something
Yes.
I thought of that I don't know if this is preventable. Could there be someone, so let's say you ceasing to exist convinces someone else to cease to exist, convinces someone else to cease to exist, and there's a domino effect. I think that's the more concerning domino effect here.
Yeah. So I think
Just, is this a world where,
I
like,
think
five
in
people
that
live?
instance, just what you said happens. All the timeline keeps on shifting so that people keep on ceasing to exist. And eventually you get to a point where there's practically no one left in the world. Because I think that
Yeah.
domino effect would happen. But you also have to keep in mind, you can only cause that effect to people who are like of your age and younger. Because if it's a certain age you get this choice at, then anybody who has chosen not to cease to exist is already still existing. Because they've like there's already people who have surpassed that, chosen to exist, and they can't choose again, so you can't. The domino effect can't affect them. Go and choose to cease to exist, but it can affect people who are younger than
So that's
you.
a good point. Like, what's a good age for this? Yeah, like, what's a good age for this?
22 and a half.
Well, we keep in mind, like, it's a day everyone gets this choice, which I don't know what that does to, like, I kind of imagine it like this, and maybe this helps, like, keep the world a bit tame in when everyone's doing it, is that you have everyone who's of age kind of lines up and they almost take turns in a way. So maybe this is constantly happening and it is someone's birthday or something like that, and everyone just has to take turns deciding. Because I feel like if you have multiple two people do it at once, then that causes issues where, like, one person is reacting to how someone else's choice. That, like, they'll contradict each other. Like, you can't have two people deciding at the same time to cease to exist, because just one of those would have possibly impacted the other person's choice. Like, especially if they were twins or something.
So it just sounds like at this point we've literally just created It's a Wonderful Life, but the angel visits everyone.
On steroids.
No, it's really just It's a Wonderful Life, but
Yeah.
the angel visits everyone. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And to prevent it from causing massive problems, it only affects people.
This one
It only
poor
affects people
soul.
close to you. So I'm just trying to figure out what exactly did we accomplish here today?
Oh, I didn't say, like, it just affects people closer. I think it's just there's this idea of, like, one person at a time only doing it. So maybe it is just one deity visiting people individually. And maybe people don't know when their time's going to be. Like, it's a lot. It's randomized. Some people might never get it.
Okay, so it really is
comes,
just It's a Wonderful
and
Life.
then other people do.
We've all built nothing.
Yeah, except it's having a costume. I don't know what you're talking about. This says like, but people are aware of it. They're aware of this choice and its impact. And, like, out of curiosity, do you think if people could see what the world would look like without them, do you think the world would be a better place because of it? Or do you think it'd be worse? Like, it had a positive impact on George Bailey, but he's a fictional character who cannot represent reality.
I mean, I have no idea. I think it's really a wild card because it all depends on what people choose and whether or not people make good decisions.
Would you want it, out of curiosity? Would you want?
No.
Were you curious at all, like, what the world would look like if you never existed?
No.
I'm not saying, like, give you the
Because
choice.
here's the thing. If either I see what the world is like without me, and I realize that it's better that I live, or I see that it's better that everybody's better off without me, and I become depressed. So, but if I just don't know, well, then I'm fine with living my life as is. No depression and no telling me, oh yeah, by the way, your life is meaningful. Where I can instead say, hey, I'm going to go out and try to make my life meaningful without any angel, spirit, deity, machine, or whatever it is that we have telling people, hey, you want to see what the world looks like without you? I'm like, no, thank you. I'll just go and make my life meaningful myself. No need to see all of that.
I mean,
And
I
then
don't
become
think you have a
depressed.
choice in this world, though.
Yeah,
I
in
think you
this
gotta
world,
just
you don't
leave it.
have a
It kinda
choice,
just
in
happens.
which case, I don't know.
Okay, so what do you think, like, the implications of always having either, I don't know, a dread almost of this happening? Do you think people will feel like they're more obliged to be, like, nicer and to have a more positive impact because all of a sudden their impact on the world can actually be evaluated and is going to be? Even if it's just by them, but still, like, you're gonna be evaluated at some point. You don't know when, and maybe it's never, but the
Well, here's
chances
the
are at
thing.
some point in your life you will.
Here's the thing: you're evaluated, but you're never judged. You are the judge. You are the judge of yourself.
Yeah, you judge yourself. Yeah,
But at that point, you can like, how many people do you think would say, oh yeah, they go and they see that the world would be better off without them, and then they choose not to disappear because they're selfish. And then when people ask them about it, it's like, hey, what did you see? They say, oh yeah, world's great with me. Without me, you guys would all be worse off. Life would suck for everybody. I'm awesome. Praise me.
So are we
Because
saying we need...
people would do that. And
Are we
these would
saying-
probably be a lot of the people who are most likely to stick around.
Are you saying we need to make this more public?
Maybe. I mean, at least at that point, we're world building something a little bit more unique than everyone knows that this happens. Because at this point, we haven't really done anything beyond world building It's a Wonderful Life all over again.
That's true. Okay, so now a picture of this. I guess it's like a TV show or broadcast or something. People could choose to watch it or choose not to, I'd say. And people are selected as like contestants to the show, and they're taken up and they're forced into this. You have no choice. It's this great deity. They just pluck you out of wherever you're at. They put you on the show, and suddenly it's all broadcasted live. Now what changes?
Okay.
So now you have the thing, if you were making everyone's life miserable, and then you chose to live anyways. Now people know about it.
In which case, everyone just kind of shakes their head and frowns like, you should have killed yourself. Which is kind of awful.
It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Hope you're not depressed yet.
Would people like make it so like these people would get killed anyway? So like if your life isn't deemed well, almost like they're trying to take the choice out of you? Or would they... I'd almost feel like the deity would need... Like, the thing that's doing this would need to put some sort of protection on the person. You know, a 1-year grace period where they can't be touched.
Maybe? I mean, what happens but after that grace period? Then what?
You better hoped you had redeemed yourself enough.
I guess. What if you didn't?
At the same time, there's like
what
other
if
people
it's like
get
we would have
exposed
all
with
been
this.
millionaires if we weren't stuck for 35 years of your life caring for you and your lazy butt because you decided to never work a day in your life and you decided to spend all of our money.
I mean, I don't think that's how government handouts work. I know
I'm
it feels
talking about
like
just the individual family members have to maintain this one very expensive family member because he feels like just not working and spending all of his family's money.
Yeah, I mean, they get to see the... I don't know, I just feel like it's such an interesting dynamic story-wise of, like, what that does to a family. If a family's like, oh my gosh, so this kid I have, who I love dearly, because, you know, it's my kid, but if I had never had this kid, my life would have been so much better. I seemed happier. But at the same time, like, you know, family love is such a strong thing. Is that happiness, like, comparable? It's like, yeah, life sucks with you. But at the same time, I would choose you over that happy life anyways. I'm sure that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, you've got the opposite happening as well, where you've got just those awful parents who are like, no, I'd rather you have ceased to exist so that I could have a wonderful life.
Yeah. True. It's less about, is it a wonderful life for you, and it's more about, like, is it a wonderful life for others? And
yeah, this entire thing is like a test of selfishness. Not just like, would you kill yourself for others, but like, will you change yourself, and how will others respond to you not killing yourself? Like, once other people see what their lives could have been like, do they suddenly become angry at you for not killing yourself?
I mean, I'm sure friendships are lost. I mean, this could be an eye-opener to some. Like, you realize, oh, wait, me and him really did have a toxic relationship. Because there it is. Without them, I'm in a not toxic relationship, and that looks better. I wonder, out of curiosity, I want, like,
at that
to
point,
lighten
you
up
just
the
cease
boat.
the friendship. At that point, it's
Yeah,
like,
but
okay, so I realize I'm better off without you. Bye now.
I do wonder though, like how much like matchmaking happens via this show. Like, just you're watching the show, and then suddenly you were, if you didn't meet this person, if this person ceased to exist, you would have been with someone else, and of course you're gonna see who that someone else is. Do like really big hunts happen to find your ideal person because you realize that in another world you two would have been better, but now that can still happen because you've seen it?
That is interesting.
I assume that can happen.
I don't see why not. Unless you run over to meet this person, you find out, oh no, they are married. And
they're happy anyways.
Yeah. It's like, meanwhile, I'm sitting here as a sad loaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I think that this can definitely have a lot more implications in terms of, like, just characters and how they act. But I think that this sort of setup actually works.
Yeah, I think we had to dial it down to make it work.
Yeah, we had to limit the power of altering time to only affect those around you, like those closest to you, and make it so that it's public, so that it's a little bit different from It's a Wonderful Life, and just from making it like this public thing that happens after you later, where it's got that 1 year grace period. Suddenly, there's a lot more complexity you can get out of characters and their actions, like what people choose to do, what people do after they see someone else's choice, etc.
But the thing that you do have to keep in mind is the only choices people remember are the people who chose to keep living.
That's true.
If someone does choose to cease to exist, they just cease to exist.
Yeah,
which
no one
almost
remembers
makes
them.
you wonder. Yeah, which almost makes people wonder, like, is there any reality to this? How many people are going to be like,
hey, is there an afterlife?
I don't know. It's be a weird place. Hey, I wish your kid in another life. I'm like, I don't know. But beyond that, I think just, would people, do you think, stop at some point believe that this doesn't actually happen? Like, does the show almost have to prove that it did this? Does it keep records of the people who cease to exist and their life like, what their life would have looked like if they did exist? Like, if someone was to go onto a file and they would be like, this person's like 20, or he's like a 40, 50 by now, and it's like, we tried to have a child for so long and we never did. I wonder if it's actually something else going on. And they go into the records and they look up the name that they would have named the child, and they find a record, and then they get to play and they get to see this kid that they had in another timeline who chose to stop existing. Like, what impact would that have?
This just gets more and more depressing.
It really does. I can't help it.
This is supposed to be Christmas themed. This is supposed to be jolly and cheerful and merry and bright. And it's all moody and dark and depressing as night.
I just have a person sitting there crying over a video of this child who chose not to exist for whatever reason. This child they've always wanted.
I don't like this world. This world sucks. I choose for it to not exist.
That's okay. It's on the internet now, though.
I choose to delete the file. I have the file on my computer, at least for my audio. I can delete at least half of it.
No, don't do it. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I didn't know where we were gonna go with this. Something told me it'd be a bit dark, but
then why did you suggest this as the Christmas episode?
Look, I think part of this is on you. You knew when I had an idea. I told you what it was, and you said, you know what, let's do it. You know how I am.
Because I didn't have anything better for Christmas theme. I have other ideas for world building. It's just they aren't Christmas themed.
See, that's the thing. Like, you didn't come up with a Christmas themed episode. I came up with something that was kind of close to one.
You know what?
But it's me. It's gonna be dark and sad and depressing.
And instead, we're gonna start world building a world of snowmen. These snowmen come to life. It's like Frosty the Snowman. It's a world of Frosties, and they're all magical.
Frosty's creepy. I don't want a Frosty.
I mean, Frosty is very disturbing.
Have you seen those shows?
Yeah. Like, I mean, and when you
what
think about
I think
the
what is it, like the
implications-
second one he actually melts in front of the kids? There's one where he melts in front of the kids. Like, that's scarring.
Yeah, I mean, I when you think about the song Frosty the Snowman, it is kind of terrifying.
Creepy.
I mean, these kids, they go and make the snowman with eyes black as coal and a corncob pipe, and like he's a smoker. And then these kids, they place a hat upon his head, and then he begins to dance around as this is very clearly a cursed hat. And then he starts. He knows that his time is limited because the hot sun is beating down on him. As though he says, "Let's run and have some fun before I melt away," because he knows that he's gonna die. And then once he eventually dies while escaping the officer, he waves goodbye, saying, "I'll be back again someday." Like, it's kind of terrifying.
I mean, we can go on a full blown rant of like how creepy most of the classic Christmas songs are. Like Santa Claus, like I see you when you're sleeping, I know when you do are awake. So you better be good at that.
Violent night, Santa's creeping.
I agree. Or even Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Also, I find the introduction of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer hilarious because it's like, you know all these other reindeers, but I bet you don't know about Rudolph. And I'm sitting here like, look, the only reindeer I can name is Rudolph.
That's true.
Let's be real here.
It's like, he's the only one that has a song and movies and shows and everything.
I don't know the origin story of the other reindeer.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Unless you watch, there's the origin story, like, is a part of, like, Santa's. Which one was that? There was, like, another Santa Claus movie where it's it's actually, the missionary, which is kind of interesting, but then it turns him fully into Santa, and it's a weird trip.
I'm not.
Do you know that one?
Sure.
It's another one of the old stop motion animations that they did.
A Year Without a Santa Claus?
Might be.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I've only heard the title, but I don't even know if it's stop motion.
There's one. It's another one. It's the same era as like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And it's the same style. But it has him like starting out the missionary and then like getting chased out, and then he meets Father Time. And he gains like magic food to feed the reindeer, and that's how they fly and stuff.
I have no idea what this is. But did you know that
it's there in my head?
Did you know that there's a Rudolph Saves the New Year movie? I think that's what it's called.
I've never seen it.
It's not.
I've never seen it, but I am aware of its existence.
It's not good. I watched it. It could be fun to watch with a friend and mock it, but it's not good.
I mean, if we want to talk about not good Christmas movies, we can talk about the Star Wars Christmas special.
Yes! But it's so much fun when you get a group of friends together.
That was a good time.
It was so much fun.
This is the first movie where I'm like, this is the one time I'd see why people drink while watching dumb movies.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like I was already on something while I was watching it. I was like...
Look, I'm being dead serious. If you have a chance to watch, like, the Star Wars Christmas special, take it.
Don't watch it by yourself, though.
Don't watch it by... No, Isaac did that. That was his mistake.
I didn't
but, like,
smile
it's so
once.
bizarre. It's so weird. It makes you so uncomfortable. You'll never be so uncomfortable watching a movie. The lady comes on the screen, and those who've seen it, they know what I'm talking
You
about. And
are
it's just like,
pleasure. I am your fantasy.
like stop. Half of it's not in English, half of it's in a made-up language, and they didn't even bother to give subtitles. I'm like, no one speaks Wookiee. None of us know what these people are saying. Like, it's not even like, sometimes people speak in Spanish or something and they don't put subtitles because, whatever. But, like, this is a made-up language that the people, like, the actors don't know what they're saying.
Yeah,
And you expect us
there's
to?
not even any humans part of the time to play off of so that you can have some idea of what the conversation's like. No, it's just incomprehensible Wookiees roaring at each other.
And they don't have enough, like, facial movements to even judge based off of that. Like, I can kind of get, like, the kid's upset about something, but I don't know if the mom just told him to clean his room or what happened there.
Yeah, it's a bad movie, but it's so much fun when you get a group of friends together, grab some popcorn, and then start screaming when the silly string hair lady comes on.
And don't worry, I'm going to comfort everyone. It does not go where you think it's going to go. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thing is, when that scene...
Because there are moments...
When that scene came on, I had actually managed to erase part of that movie from my head, because I just tried my best to forget it, and I managed to, because I hadn't seen it in years, and I only saw it once. And then when I sat down and watched it with you guys again, I totally forgot about that scene. And so when she came on, I was just thinking, oh no, I forgot about this part. And I wasn't thinking about it when I recommended that we go watch the movie together. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, these guys, they're judging me now.
Just a little. But we knew what we were getting into. We were warned it was a bad movie.
You did not know what you were getting into. You thought that it would not compare to Avatar: The Last Airbender because you thought that that was the worst movie ever. No, this goes far worse.
No. Yeah, so, but I knew I was going to be watching a bad movie. At least I knew that. Like, I wasn't going in expecting a masterpiece. I was prepared for bad. I just wasn't prepared for that type of bad.
But it's so much fun, though.
But it is. Also, like, read the comments to people who actually bought the movie. They're so funny.
Wasn't there, like, one 10-star review?
Reviews. There was, and the person's just like raving about it, but in like a mocking manner, and it's just great. People are so creative in reviews; it's a fun time. But I think we've lightened up the mood. We talked about some more Christmas. I think we're good to end it here.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to end it. Let's stop while things are still positive.
Yeah. Do you want to review the world we created?
What?
Do you want to go over, like, review the world we created? Bring the mood back down?
No, I don't. It's basically just a slightly more complex Wonderful Life.
And more depressing. Wonderful Life makes you feel, like, happy and wholesome by the end of it.
Yeah, this one you just kind of want to sink into the couch under the blankets and die.
Look, Christmas depression is a thing. We've just turned it into a world.
Anyway, I think it's time to leave it off before this gets too depressing. Go find some friends, watch the holiday special for Star Wars. People who haven't seen it, go and watch it.
Also watch It's a Wonderful Life.
And then when people start...
It's the best Christmas movie ever.
And then when your friends start asking you, why did you make me watch this? The Incomprehensible Wookiees, not It's a Wonderful Life. When they start asking you, why did you make me watch this? Tell them some random dude on the internet said that it was a fun, good time. And that he lied.
It is, with the right friend. I had a great experience watching that movie.
So did I, except for
just
when I was by myself.
Just not for the reasons you'd think.
Yeah, it's...
yeah.
It has nothing
and
good
then if
in
you
it.
want, like... If you want an actual wholesome, fun, like, nice experience that makes you, like, all warm and fuzzy and is a good Christmas movie, watch It's a Wonderful Life. It is amazing. It's a great movie. I'm gonna go force Isaac to watch it now.
Alright. Well, we will see you guys next week with a new world. Hopefully, a little more in depth and detail than this It's a Wonderful Life ripoff. Uh,
Wow.
I'm sorry, that's
Merry
what it
Christmas.
is. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye.